Okay, I imagine this has been coming since the event of Ollie and Jared and all that stuff, and I imagine this came from that. But we'll have to see. I'm not sure I want to read this. I'm on a few hours of sleep, but we got a letter from the chairman, and when we get a letter from the chairman, that usually decides the steps going forward and what the initiatives are. That tends to be what these letters say. Here we go. I guess we'll switch here, so I'll be on like green screen. Thank you for supporting, and thank you for playing. Thank you for your feedback. It has been great to see more of you playing Star Citizen than ever before. With 35,890 concurrent players at our peak this year. Okay. That growth goes well beyond a single peak. So they're actually put a number. Interesting. In the first half of 2020, that's the first time we've ever put a real number. All right. And the growth goes well beyond a single peak. In the first half of 2026, we saw a 7% increase. Players in 11. Okay, I'm not an investor in this company. I don't care about your increases and your numbers. Seeing more of you playing and spending more time in the verse has been incredibly rewarding for all of us at CIG. I think a 30,000, so that 35,890 concurrent, just to be aware, is like how many EVE Online has regularly in the summer. It's like not that great if you think about it that way, but it's pretty fucking incredible if you consider EVE is, yes, almost all alts. Second, a finished game, and Star Citizen is an alpha. So 35,000 is kind of an impressive number for such a unpolished, unfinished game, right? That people are still so interested in it. So it's. I feel like they use these numbers to discredit people like myself. I hope they don't, right? Fallout 76 is 72,000 at its peak. Okay. Finished game. Fun game, apparently, right? Star Citizen, not finished. In my opinion, not fun. Star Citizen Alpha 4.10 is an important step on the road to Star Citizen 1.0 because it brings and encounter instancing to the persistent universe with Siege of Orison. We already have a basic version of instancing in the game via player hangars, but the next iteration of instancing brings the ability to stream arbitrary areas and all its related content in on demand, a seamless connection to a main shared universe, along with the dynamic server loading. Instancing in 4.10 is the first case of dynamic server meshing in Star Citizen. So we're seeing what dynamic server meshing looks like. Let me tell you, not smooth. So not a great start for potentially what dynamic server meshing, what it might feel like to spin up a server, for example. Not a smooth experience. You feel it. You know what it's loading in. Not seamless at all, but totally fine. Totally fine for a first iteration, of course. Hope it improves. Up until now, each universe shard has set a set number of servers, each allocated in different areas called territories internally. So Microtech and everything on Microtech is a territory and has a server looking over it. But if too many people flock to Microtech New Babbage, the static system doesn't have the ability to spin up additional servers to split the simulation load, and the singular server in charge of Microtech starts to run slower and slower, which results in degraded player experience. With dynamic server meshings, we will spin up additional servers as the simulation load demands, subdividing the territories into smaller ones. I pointed out earlier, guys, that man, I really hope we get base building. Man, I really hope we get a marketplace. Man, I really hope we get better crafting or mining or salvage, whatever, features, gameplay features, right? Dynamic server meshing is definitely on a similar list to all those things. It's not the same thing because you don't really play it, but it's one of those things that they need to do it in order to stop doing it and do something else, right? So when instances are created, we monitor server load And when we hit a specified maximum load ratio, we'll spin up additional servers to manage the additional instances dynamically. The networking team calls this quasi-dynamic server meshing. We've heard about this before because we're not yet subdividing territories in the persistent universe, but it is the first case of us spinning up and down servers dynamically based on load, requiring us to create a lot of services that you'll need. Okay. Like, where are they doing this? With dynamic, so they're just explaining dynamic server meshing. They don't actually have this technically, but we think they do. They've done tests internally. We've seen this in the monthly report. They probably do have it. The way he's writing as if it's happened, right? So I think it's happening, and you think it's the instances, but they're not being spun. I mean, I guess it's dynamic. They're being spun up and down based on load, right? But it's not like there's too many people in this area. Yeah. So he's just referencing Siege. Okay. If he's just referencing Siege, fine. Cool. Good job. Let's move on. Well, a lot of other MMOs have instancing. They do not have a specific kind of instancing. We do that needs to seamlessly interact with a fully dynamic mesh shared universe, which upped the complexity level of technology significantly. I'm happy to report that with your help testing Siege of Orison, the instancing finally is performing well. It took us longer to get there than we thought, but like a lot of things in Star Citizen, turned out to have a few more complexities than the edge cases that we expected. Honestly, dude, like the shortest delay of something really big than that we've ever had. I don't really, they're like, oh, we're so sorry it's taken so long. The delay of this stuff does not bother me at all. Maybe it's because I don't care about Siege as much, but I didn't feel the need to like pressure them to get it out or anything. As part of today's launch, we're sharing a video about the process. Okay, we saw that. Star System made it possible by all your support over the years, and one of the key aspects that encouraged that support was how open we have been with development, sharing our failures and successes along the way. Over this year and the last, I felt that we've been sharing the process of building Star Citizen less and less. Many of you backed for how open we were in development, and it's much easier to understand why things aren't always perfect when we share the process. And you can see the difficulties of achieving what is the most ambitious game in all of gaming. All the people crying, Ollie will save us. I mean, Chris is making a pretty valid point here. They've been less open, and because of that, it's caused us to get more frustrated. Totally fair. Yeah. That means I'm getting into the content creator program. I'm never going to be interacting with these people ever again. These two people on the screen right here are the bane of this game's existence, in my opinion. I think they're the two biggest problems, and they're the ones who decide whether or not I'm in these kind of things, most likely. So, no, I will never fucking be in any of this, okay? Many of you backed for how open we were in development. It's much easier to understand why things aren't always perfect when we share the process. Okay, this video is the first step to getting back to going behind the scenes. Everyone at CIG is passionate about Star Citizen and doing nothing but the best work. Sharing more of our development is a great way to show that, so we're getting back to our roots. Cool. Not much to say there. I also want to take the opportunity to clear up some misconceptions that I see in community discussion. The biggest one I see floated is Star Citizen's technical issues are due to its engine choice. Oh, God. Listen, at this stage, you are falling behind. Stop pretending that you're not. You're falling behind. Period. Your game is not standing far above everyone else. Like it looked like it did before, right? Like this one's going to be a tough read for me because there's lots of other games that are visually standing up to Star Citizen now, but they also have gameplay. So it's making him not look that great. Star Engine is our engine, which originally started CryEngine 3 in October 2015. We stopped taking updates and have been refactoring and adding to the code base to the extent that there's almost nothing left of the original engine. The entity system renderer, which has hardware-assisted ray tracing, blah, 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 GPU particle system, DNA visual animation, audio system, UI, blah, 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 blah. In addition to that game engine is only a smart part of the code and systems you need to run a massively multiplayer game like Star Citizen. We have dozens of distributed online services that can run in the cloud, connected to multiple backend. Got it. The switch from CryEngine to Lumberyard was for Amazon Web Services, which is where we ran our servers and platform for many years. Lumberyard started as a full branch of the same CryEngine branch we were based off of, so we could switch to it with no changes to its core engine side, and Amazon had bought out the rights to that version of CryEngine. Amazon heavily modified CryEngine over the years, which is what people know as the Lumberyard engine, and there was good work in there, but we never took any of this, as our tech roadmap has always specifically been for the needs of Star Citizen and Squadron 42. In 2020, we came to the agreement with Crytek that gave us a perpetual license for the branch of CryEngine that we're on for all of our current and future games, giving us full control over the use of Star Engine going forward. So, whoa, he just shared the lawsuit settlement. Okay. I mean, that's like the first time that he's ever said that. And future games, I mean, you can read into that as Soul Singer or whatever that thing was, or you can read into that as Squadron 42 Part 2, or you can read into this as this guy really fucking thinks he's going to be Bobby at Blizzard. And I mean, you got to ship a Warcraft before you ship World of Warcraft. So we'll see. You got to ship Diablo too. You know what I mean? Like, you need to ship these things, and he hasn't. So I think this is pretty big cope by saying future games right now when you haven't released one. But we'll see. Giving us the full control over the use of our Star Engine going forward, which you can appreciate is important to the investments we made into our technology. There is no game engine that could do everything that we can do in Star Citizen. There is also no game that could do everything that we can do at the scale and fidelity that we do it. There's also 50,000 games on Steam that play better than yours, so chill. That is because it's crazily complex and a demanding set of requirements to operate with the detail as we do in a seamless first-person viewpoint in a universe that you can go to any corner and explore. Bro, oh my God. You ever watch the White Room videos of like dating or whatever? Like these, like those, like there's no corners, right? That's the level of exploration we have. There's nothing to explore. There's no corners to go to. I'm not sure what he's talking about. Everything is on rails in your game, dude. You've not focused on the sandbox at all. Ugh, it's frustrating. Every vehicle operates like a real one, a complex set of different components that enable your ship to fly and sustain you, components that you can physically interact with, that can break or be damaged, that you can repair or replace. I think engineering was a massive failure up to this point. I think a lot of people would agree with me on that one, that it did not achieve its set out goals, which was to raise time to kill and have large ships require crew. Idris, anybody? You could fluidly go and also stop explosions of ships from happening and have ships become disabled. That's not happening. So to call it engineering is something here that is like, I don't think it's a thing that they should be talking about. It's not engineering was a big failure in my opinion. It has the opportunity to work, but ships are still exploding. It's not good. You can fluidly go from foot to ground vehicle into a spaceship, take off, fly to a moon or a spaceship, and you can see from the ground, all while being able to fully move around that ship, which in some cases is the size of whole game levels in most FPS games, land and get out and explore the planet all seamlessly with no loading screens and delays. This is Star Citizen to me. No, don't shake your head. Don't. I can't with this. This is the most important thing about Star Citizen. This is the thing that separates this game from everyone else. For me, this is so important to the game. And this is what makes it special. And they did this many, many years ago. Right? It's not even the money-making side. It's again, this is what makes Star Citizen special. And this is what, when you go into the game, you go, wow, I will never experience anything like this. You can't do it in No Man's Sky because you're on rails in No Man's Sky in a lot of ways. Elite Dangerous, you have a black screen when you get out of your ship. It's not the same. Trust me, it is not the same. This is Star Citizen, and this is something Star Citizen will always do better than anyone else. And again, I don't know about No Man's Sky and Elite Dangerous. Like, that moon is loaded in, and you could see it, and you could go to it. That space station is loaded in. You can see it. You can go to it from extremely far away. Very, very cool. Very, very important. Just build a game within that, and you're literally gold. He refuses to do that. He refuses to do that, and he keeps taking it further and further and further to the point where I feel like we're never going to get a game, right? If he just stuck to this, he did it. You did it. It's amazing. Stop there, build within this, and you're good. But he wants to do this Second Life thing, and it's just not fun, dude. Building a tech stack that could deliver all this is a crazy investment in both time and money. To put the resources into perspective, our core tech group is 147 strong with 106 engineers in it. This is our engine tools backend team dedicated to building technology we use. We are very lucky to be afforded the time and money to invest into creating technology that enables Star Engine. Most developers don't have the resources to do this, which is why you see people licensing Unreal or Unity, as well as building games with smaller scopes. Yeah, I mean, listen, again, there's an argument to have this, and then there's an argument to get 2 Tarkovs in the time that it takes to get 1 Star Citizen or whatever, right? Where you license them out. Both might achieve something really great, but this one has been more frustrating than Tarkov, even, I feel like. There's lots of headlines about Star Citizen passing the $1 billion raise threshold earlier this year, but the reality is building something like we are requires funding at this level. Rockstar, again, he thinks he's Bobby, dude. It's so funny. Rockstar, who are the main developer of GTA 6, have spent over $2 billion in staff and office costs in the UK from 2019 until the end of 2025. I know, because like CIG UK Limited, Rockstar Games Limited has to publish financials on company's house, so their costs are public. This is not to criticize them at all. I love their games and their ambition and their commitment to gameplay married to fidelity, and the scale is awe-inducing. I'm pointing out this as it takes this kind of funding to build games and technology that do things that you haven't seen before. Except we've noticed that Rockstar is kind of doing things that we've seen before, but fair enough. The second misconception I see thrown around is that Star Citizen has a skeleton crew and all the resources and money being spent on Squadron 42. That is a thing that I say all the time, that he is saying is apparently a misconception. I want to clarify here. Outside of CTG, core... Is that this core tech, the one that he just talked about? Probably. We have a further 611 staff in development across our 4 studios. For the last couple of years, they've been split approximately 50-50 between Star Citizen and Squadron 42. Okay, who's doing the misconception here, buddy? Because your developers talk. Okay, and I'm not so sure it's 50-50. All right? And it's okay for it not to be 50-50, right? Before that, it was more heavily weighted on Star Citizen. One of the reasons that Squadron 42 has been taking the time it has is that we're always reassigning resources on Star Citizen to get the patches out, which push back Squadron. Yeah, stop. Stop doing that. That's probably true. I wish they would stop doing that personally, but they can't because they have to put out the patch to make the money for Squadron. Right? In fact, after our 2023 CitizenCon in LA, where you guys told us that Squadron was feature complete and we thought we were going to get a lot of resources onto Star Citizen, we didn't, because you're pulling them off of Squadron 42, where they're spending most of their time just to get a patch out in Star Citizen. There's some bugs that are not fixed because these guys are on Squadron 42. They literally said it. The majority of gameplay engineering teams spent a large part of 2024 bringing a lot of features into Star Citizen at the expense of Squadron. Well, he finally fucking told the truth here. 2024 wasn't supposed to bring any features, Chris Roberts. You wrote this letter at the beginning of 2024 telling us that we would not have any features and we would focus on stability and playability. But that's not what happened, is it? Oh, no, that was 2025. Okay. Take it back. Ignore me. Sorry, Chris. Towards the end of 2024, we decided that we couldn't continue, so we shifted the balance back. In these final months on Squadron 42, that split is now 55 to 45. I don't believe this, but that's fine. I'll never believe this. And I don't care. Just get the game out. Because the sooner we finish Squadron, the sooner the majority of the development staff can focus on bringing Star Citizen to 1.0. So that's another misconception, is that, like, after Squadron, they're going to do Squadron 43, the Chapter 2. He's saying that's not what we're doing, right? Having the split between time and resources between two hugely ambitious projects is very difficult. Which brings to me the last thing I want to touch on, Squadron 42's release. At CitizenCon 2024, we announced that we would ship in 2026. Our plan was to release in Q4 around IAE, which is crazy. But much like the rest of the industry, there's no way I want to launch my spiritual successor to Wing Commander, a game that has had 12 years of blood, sweat, and tears invested into it. We started Squadron development in 2014, as 2013 was opening studios, hiring people, blah, 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 blah. Launching into the attention buzzsaw of GTA 6. Thank you. Okay? While GTA 6 isn't launching on PC this November, pretty much all of its outlets and most content creators will be all over it, not leaving a lot of room for other coverage. Amazing, because the ego was not there in an article that we saw, right? Like, the logic was not there. The ego was. Remember where he was like, I think I can do this. Now, I'm going to go with Mukes here in Twitch chat. This isn't a decision they made. In my opinion, the game's not ready, and they have an easy out to delay it to 2027. Right? When does Fable launch, Marcus? Sorry, but to be honest, I don't really care about content creators. Release the game when it's ready. Do you care about Squadron 42 having success? Have you heard of Mecha Chameleon? Have you heard of Among Us? Have you heard of... I don't know. Name any game that became popular through streamers, right? You may not think streamers are relevant. I may not be relevant. Right? Star Citizen streamers are not relevant. Tarkov, sure. Guys, streamers are fucking relevant. Okay? They are more relevant than PC Gamer. That's for sure. Right? So just when he mentions content creators, it is important. Yeah, and it's free. Okay, we have taken a look at the release windows at the start of 2027 and decided that Q2 provides a better time for Squadron 42's release. Okay. We're allowing a small number of original backers and longtime Star Citizen content creators an opportunity to play Squadron 42 this October 9th and 10th. We'll be making further announcements about our release plans during this time and specific release date shortly after. I know a lot of you will be disappointed to not be playing Squadron 42 at the end of this year, but the best thing for the project is that it's really something special, blah, blah, blah. Who would argue against this? This is totally fine. There's no argument here. I just think the game's actually delayed. Yeah, everybody except for me is allowed to play it, right? F. This is all the Fs are not on my end, by the way, or did my cam go? I don't know what's going on with the camera. I got to plug it back in and out. I want to wrap this up by thanking all of you for your support, but I've seen a few people question why there wasn't a letter for the chairman of the Billion Crowd. And honestly, I felt it shouldn't be about money, as Star Citizen Squadron 42 are much more than financial headline. You can see from voluntary financials we publish that all the money we raise back into development goes into these two games. Yep, that's totally fine. He does letters for the chairman. Like, this was written a long time ago when huge tech things happen now. That's been a thing for a while. But in reflection, I was looking at this wrong. The $1 billion is a testament and celebration to all of you, the backers and community members that have given me and CIG your faith and patience. I have not given you my faith or patience for some time now, or my money, but we're still here, and I think we still matter. That has stood by through thick and thin. All of you that have held the line, I can't believe you're still using that. It is a testimony to the power of collective to make something unprecedented happen. There's no publisher or private equity investor that would have the patience and willingness to invest in the long term like you have. You have raised $1 billion to make something that could not exist otherwise. Yeah, but it still may not exist. So, like, wrap it up, dude. And for that, I'm incredibly lucky and humbled by that there's some amazing things ahead, but even right now, I feel Star Citizen is special, and that is because of all of you. I hope you enjoy Alpha 4.10. See you in the verse. Chris Roberts, CEO. They still use this picture, which is goofy. He always looks so happy in there. Highlights. This is bullshit. They also are not releasing because of GTA 6, is what they're saying. That may or may not be true. I don't really believe it. I think it's because they need a little bit more time and they have a perfectly easy excuse. The reason I don't believe it is because Chris said in other articles that he thought he can compete against them. That is just simply not true. Maybe somebody convinced him otherwise or something. But his ego was like way up here at some point in the last year. Outside of that, I don't see much here other than, we want to show more of the inside of Star Citizen. I don't think they should be doing the videos that we just saw in the way they did them. I don't think they need to be that high quality or whatever, but I don't know what your feedback was with like Inside CIG, but I didn't think it needed to be that much. And then, the first little bit of quasi server meshing. So I don't know, guys. I don't feel like it's going to be that much of a better year after reading this, unlike the year of playability one. The year of playability one, I fucking drank that Kool-Aid so hard. You're just not getting me to drink any Kool-Aid anymore. Just for me, it's don't keep making better decisions. Start making better decisions. And I don't care what you say. I care what you do. So do shit and then I'll be happy. Right. So that's where I'll leave it. I'm going to wrap it up. And I hope you guys enjoyed me, a barely educated person who can barely read the letter from the chairman. Let me know what you guys think about it, all right?